I've forced myself to play Etheria Restart so you don't have to. Etheria Restart is a game that's been picking up attention in the gacha space, and after spending a good chunk of time with it, I have a bit to say. Now, this isn't going to be a sugar-coated praise test, or it's not going to be a harsh critique of the game either. Let's have a talk about what Etheria does well, what needs work, and whether it's worth your time. Let's get this out of the way. If you're coming into Etheria expecting a gripping story like Honkai or Genshin, you might be left a bit disappointed. The characters, while beautifully designed, lack the emotional depth or compelling arcs to carry the narrative. Some feel like placeholders than people. The story's pacing just doesn't hook you in. I found myself struggling to engage during cutscenes, and that's a shame because there's a potential in the world building. It just needs stronger, more grounded writing to elevate it, in my opinion. Where Etheria does start to shine is in its core gameplay loop. The game offers a wide roster of characters, which opens the door to a lot of team variety and theory crafting. If you love tweaking lineups, experimenting with builds, and finding niche strategies, there's a lot to sink your teeth into here. What's also great is how the game integrates progression into its game modes. For example, building your characters isn't just about grinding dull stages. You're actively engaging in boss fights, like in Grim Pursuit and Threshold, which feel more meaningful than your typical gacha grind. For right now, Grim Pursuit is a bit on the easy side, but Threshold, it starts off tame, you can clear it quite easily, but it quickly hits you with a massive difficulty spike. I haven't even fully cracked the higher tiers when it comes to Threshold, but it leaves me excited to explore further and see how much it really pushes my team building. One of my personal favorite parts of Etheria is the shell system. Think of them like Pokemon companions that grant your characters passive buffs and abilities. To me, this is such a refreshing system, not only mechanically, but artistically. Each shell has been given its own personality and aesthetic, and the choices you make here can really change how a character plays. Does your character want to build for speed, defense, or healing? The shells give you that flexibility without bogging you down in some overcomplicated menus. It's streamlined, but it's extremely impactful for your overall character's impact in your team and his strength towards enemies. Even though I feel like the story lacks depth, I can't deny, however, that the art team brought their best game when it came to Etheria Restart. The character designs are standout, each one distinct, stylish, and well rendered. It is clear to tell that the team brought attention to detail when it made each character. Animations in combat are smooth, and special skills have a satisfying amount of flair without being over the top. Etheria manages to walk that fine line between clean readability and impressive visuals, and that's something a lot of gacha games still struggle with to this day. Not everything's smooth sailing when it comes to Etheria Restart. One of my biggest gripes with the game is the chest opening animations. And I know, this might sound small, but when you're out there exploring and you're constantly being stopped for a few seconds just to open a chest, it adds up quite quickly.
game's gone, innit? The game's gone.
The game's gone.
The game's gone.
Now, I'm used to games such as Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact, where you can open a chest quickly and then move on to explore. However, in this game, it takes a good couple of seconds just to open a chest, and this just adds up way too quickly. It's a small design choice that slows down the pacing in a game that otherwise feels pretty snappy. I'd love to see a change or an option to speed this up, or even an auto open such as Genshin Impact. It's a little thing, but in a game like this, the little things matter. However, at the end of the day, Etheria Restart isn't trying to be this next story-driven masterpiece. It's a theory crafter's game, placed for team builders and meta explorers to get lost in the vast combinations of shell setups and boss fights. If you're here for emotional storytelling or deep lore, you will probably walk away a little disappointed. But if you're into layered gameplay systems, gorgeous character designs, and a more gameplay first gacha loop, I feel like you might be left quite surprised by how much you enjoy the game. There is still room to grow, better story writing, some quality of life fixes, and maybe some tougher late game content would help Etheria go from good to brilliant. But as it stands, it's a solid foundation with unique systems that set it apart from the other gacha games. If you're on the fence, I would thoroughly recommend to give it a go and see. You might really enjoy the game.